afternoon.
We are coming from the University of Maryland, Eastern Shore. And today we're introducing our app, Feedback. My name is BW.
And I'm Lena Spiller. So imagine this. You've just finished giving a presentation. You look to the audience for feedback or any reaction for an indication on your performance, only to be met with dead silence and cold stares. So this is the problem. There's a disconnect between the speaker and the audience. The presenters are left wondering about their performance, they're unsure, while the speakers are left holding in their opinions, so they're unheard. As far as the speaker, they lose the most in these situations because without feedback and constructive criticism, we cannot grow.
Now, how do we plan on solving this problem? How do we plan on bridging the gap? Well, these are some of the features of our app. One thing we're going to do is introduce a real-time feedback mechanism, which introduces live polling and feedback features. We're also going to give session-specific feedback channels that connects listeners with presenters through specific sessions. And we've also categorized our feedback into 6 options: what, where, who, why, when, and how, which make it easier for presenters to know where they need to fix their clarification for their listeners. And also, our app creates a 6-digit session ID, which listeners will use to connect to a specific session and give their feedback. Here we have some screenshots of the presenter side of our app. You see when a presenter first creates a session, it starts off with 0 values for each feedback option. And as listeners provide feedback, the data is populated for each option so that presenters will be able to know where exactly they need to adjust their future presentations. And here are some screenshots from our listener side. You see when you log into a session, you'll be presented with 6 different feedback options. It'll ask you a question to clarify if you want to submit your feedback for that specific option. And then that way the feedback is submitted. Here's a video demo showing the registration and presenter side. It's going to ask you for a first name, last name, email address, and password. And it's all handled through Google Firebase. You see here you're able to choose whether to be a presenter or a listener. You'll enter basic presentation data, presentation name, presenter name, and of course the day and time for that specific session. Here presented a screen with each option and another info screen that displays the session data and the 6-digit ID which listeners will use to log in. And here's a video demo of the listener side. Here we're showing our login, which is again handled through Firebase. So we're going to log in, and this time instead of being a presenter, we're going to choose to be a listener. So we're going to copy and paste the session ID. And these IDs are handled through the Firebase database. And this way, listeners are able to provide feedback to the presenters for that specific session.
So the social impacts of this app, it breaks down communication barriers. So for the speaker, they get more clarification on what they need to fix better for their presentation. And the audience benefits because they're expressing their opinions. So this accessibility to communication ensures that every voice is being heard and a workplace is more inclusive. As far as plans in the future, right now it is for in-person presentations, but the same technology can be implemented into Apple with iMessage, and then it can also be implemented into education or learning management apps such as Canvas or Schoology. And then we have many things that set feedback apart. One of which is that the target audience is very large. It can be used in a classroom setting for peer review, peer to teacher, or teacher to peer. And then it can also be used at larger events, such as meetings, conferences, and competitions, such as this one. And this is an app, not a prototype. And there's no QR code required. Everything, the feedback gets sent directly to the presenter in real time. Thank you.